Alright guys, today I'm going to be teaching you how to lower your C10 with lowering springs. I'm in Arizona. Taylor got some drop springs, so we're going to drop a truck. This is a 3.5 drop. It's just the springs. Later on she'll buy the drop spindles and the drop block for the back. But for right now, we're going to do the back first because it's easier. It's like 4 bolts. And the front's a little bit more complicated, but I'm going to teach you how to drop your C10. Alright, first steps, obviously, but not everyone knows this. You got to jack your car up, take your wheels off, and that'll give you access to your rear suspension. So we'll go ahead and do that. Okay, so we got the car jacked up. I'm gonna lower this in a minute. But basically the way the springs are held on is you undo this bolt and it's got a threaded hat, I guess you would call it. And the top one, the hat is not threaded, so you need to throw a wrench and then a socket to pull that one off. But first, you just gotta loosen this one. So, get back to you once this is loosened.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Taylor's on the camera because she was helping. We got the top spring holder off. That one's definitely tough. We took the bottom one halfway off, and it just kind of spun off of the spring, so we didn't have to fully take that off. We might have to in a minute though. But yeah, I don't think this will ever come off because that took like 40 minutes right now, and it was just the bolts they're just like welded together with rust. But it's off. We're gonna try to put this spring in it, and then we'll start on the other side. But so far so good. Hey guys, I just thought I'd show this real quick though before we try to put this in. This is a stock spring, way bigger. We have the lowering spring, way better because it's shorter, and the truck will actually look cool now maybe because it was way too high before. I forgot to show that's if you got a little bit of gap. Not very cool, guys. So it's probably gonna have a little bit of a gap still because she needs to do the drop butt locks and the C-notch, but it'll look better for now. So let's get to putting this on. So these bottom spring pockets really suck. They're really hard to get off. But what I figured out is if you just get what is it? A fork. I forgot what the fuck they're called, but a fork, and you stick it in there, and basically you use it to stop the spring holder from moving. If not, it just spins in there forever. Just pull it off now. Just spin it off. All right. So other side springs off. Mrs. Strong Woman over here broke the bolt, so we're just gonna throw this in there, and tomorrow we'll get a bolt for this. And that's basically the rear. It's just, so I guess you just need a 21mm wrench to take those off. Once I got the 21mm wrench, it was pretty easy. So let's throw the new spring on, babe. Where do you have it? Boom, new spring, throw it in there. Just put it on top for right now. There you go. You can basically call it installed. So we're gonna throw this in now. But it's in there now, and that's the back done completely. So I'm gonna put the wheels on, and this jack just drops. It's a little dangerous, but we'll do the reveal of the drop right now. Well, oh shit, you got the fucking bright on. Probably don't look great, but we got the backs on. Went for a little bit of a cruise. Yeah, the back's not too hard. It's just that if you got some I would definitely buy a bunch of PB Blaster or shit to get the rust off the bolts, because man, that was rough. And we even broke one bolt, but luckily the hardware store had it. So yeah, it feels like we're Cali leaning right now. We got the nose all the way up and the back all the way down. It's pretty sweet. But I'm excited. It feels a little bit more, I guess, sportier, you would say. You guys, it's the next morning, so it's time to the fronts. But now you can totally see how much lower the back is. 2 more inches though would be a big hit. But right now it's cool. Right now, to start to the fronts, we're gonna jack the car up, take the front tire off, and then we'll update you once we're there. The first steps to this is you want to take your steering linkage off, so just a cotter pin and a bolt, and then you want to also take off the shock just on the bottom, and then move this stuff out of the way. And then after that, what we'll do is we'll spin this, and there's a bolt and a cotter pin at the bottom with the ball joint. And then we'll slowly loosen it, hit it with the hammer. It breaks free, put a jack underneath it. We'll slowly loosen it out. The safest way to do this is definitely with some coil suppressors, but we don't have any, so we're just gonna do it how I always do it, which is sketchy. So, all right. So this is really crusty, but we'll clean it up a little bit. So it's that off, just the cotter pin and the pin. So we'll do the same thing on here on the shock. Yeah, so far so good. Okay, the shock is off, 3/4 bolt off. So now what you want to do is you want to take this cotter pin on the lower control arm off, and then you want to loosen this, but not all the way off. Now what you want to do is you're going to hit it with a hammer, and the pressure of the spring should break the ball joint loose. If not, I have a fork to break the ball joint. So I'll get to doing that right now. Okay, so yeah, guys, we took it off. We left a couple threads on, and then we just put the jack underneath it. We'll hit it with a hammer right now. Taylor will hit it with a hammer, and hopefully it breaks loose. All right, guys, it has been about a month since you saw the last clip, and that's because after we broke the ball joint loose, I realized that both the upper and the lower ball joints were screwed up, and I was leaving in a couple hours to go back to California, so I didn't have the time to finish the truck, unfortunately. I put the one side like kind of halfway back together. I'll share it now what you have to do to put it back together. It's basically just undoing what you did before. You take the old spring out, you put the new spring in, you lift the lower control arm, and then what you need to do is you need to spin the not a lot of people know this, but you need to spin the coil till it stops, because it's supposed to be in a pocket so it doesn't really rattle around. And then you just put everything back together. You put the nut on the lower control arm, new cotter pin, you put the shocks back on, you put the steering on, and that's really it. But yeah, they were just completely blown out, and it was like a full-blown panic because I was leaving in a couple hours. I was gonna try to do it, but we couldn't find the ball joints anywhere local here, and then yeah, so it just kind of derailed the project. Unfortunately, it's just kind of how cars are sometimes, and you kind of just have to roll with the punches. So I was kind of bummed because I didn't get to finish it. I was really excited to see it slam, but here, I'll show you guys the truck now. But yeah, like I said, both the upper and the lower ball joints are screwed up, so unfortunately I didn't get to finish it. But this truck has definitely never been taken apart. I mean, it's just super crusty underneath here, and at some point we're gonna rebuild the whole front suspension, so take all like the steering links off and all that stuff, probably change the controllers to tubular ones. But for right now, if you want to lower your truck cheaply, this is the way to do it. But yeah, so like I was saying, you put the new spring in, you spin it, you put a jack underneath here, you lift it up, you put the nut and the cotter pin in, and that's done. And then all you have to do is reattach what you did, which is put the steering arm back in its spots, put the nut on the cotter pin, and then on the other side it's just a nut and a bolt for the shock. So it's pretty simple, but I would if your truck looks like this, I would just either buy new controllers to save you the time screwing around, or you're for sure going to be going to an auto parts store to replace the ball joints. I wish I would have thought of it earlier. I don't know, most times you can just bang this stuff out. It's pretty easily, but her ball joints were so screwed up, and I didn't feel like it was too safe to drive the truck, so we just went and dropped it off at a shop, and I went home. So, but Truck looks badass. The truck is slammed now. I mean, it is for what? I think they were like a couple $100. You really can't go wrong. Like, and it's really inexpensive, and you can do it in a weekend. You can do it in like a couple hours realistically if your bolts aren't all rusted shut. So yeah, guys, that's Taylor's truck slammed. It looks badass. If you want to drop your truck for super cheap, just do the CPP lowering springs or some other lowering spring that's a 3 and 5 inch drop. So I didn't get to finish it, but kind of is what it is. I was going back to California and I didn't get time to finish it. But the truck looks badass. What's the next thing, babe?
Lower it.
Lower it?
No, not lower. Sorry, ruined that.
Cut it.
Cut it.
So hopefully we'll see some more C10 content of Taylor's truck, and I'll see you guys next time.